Amnesty International, whatever your favorite cause might be. My favorite cause, of course, is the enlightenment of others. I think that's the best place to put money. You get the highest yield in terms of karma on your money. One person is just working for themselves, for their own pleasure, or to avoid unpleasantness, not having a place to live, not having clothes. Some think that the material world will make them happy. They think that if they can buy more and have more, bigger house, bigger car, fancier clothes, better trips, that it'll make a difference. It doesn't make a difference at all. You can be rich or poor, it doesn't make a bit of difference. Everything depends on your state of awareness. If your state of awareness is low, then all the material success in the world won't help. If your state of awareness is high, then in poverty you will know no poverty. Naturally, the Zen Master Rama philosophy is have a high state of awareness and material success. The two really, in my opinion, go together. Because if you're in an empowered state, then you should be able to draw the power of material success through you. Material success is not something that will bind you unless you become attached to it, any more than poverty will liberate you. But some people have a very strange idea that material success does not coincide harmoniously with self-realization, which is absurd. Material success is as much a part of this universe as anything else is. The aversion to material success, or the clinging to it, is an attachment, which brings about pain and suffering, and separates one from the natural realization of enlightenment. So those who seek poverty, or who avoid wealth, or who are afraid of poverty, and exclusively seek wealth, they're equally hung up. We live in a world where money is necessary. You can't just go out and roam the forest and the cities, at least in America. And money also helps you, as I said, of course, naturally you can use it to aid others in their enlightenment process or in any way that you choose. But money also is very useful in this particular world to buy you space. In the old days, there were not too many people on the planet, and you could roam around in the forest and woods. Today, everybody owns the forest and woods, and there are no trespassing signs. And some of the highest vibratory places which one could visit and renew and recharge one's spirit, places where the earth's energy is very strong, have become very expensive. They're the domains of the rich. Because the rich figured out a long time ago that certain neighborhoods have more power, and by living in them, more power comes through you than other neighborhoods. It's the truth. The earth is not the same everywhere. Certain powers are available in one part of the earth that are not available in another part of the earth. So the rich realize this, and they live in these places, and they use that power to stay rich or become wealthier, or for their children to be wealthy. People who seek enlightenment can live in those neighborhoods and use that same power, not simply to become wealthy, but to advance their awareness field. The power is not simply the power of material success. It's plain, strong power that can be used for any purpose, to become rich, to become famous, notorious, to become enlightened, to become selfless. And it requires money to live in these places. Also, there's a certain beauty and refinement that is often found in our world, and it's expensive, in a sense. It shouldn't necessarily be so. Beautiful clothes shouldn't necessarily be more expensive, but they are. It's just the way our economic system is. In other words, clothes that have a refined vibration. And an ochre robe can be extremely refined, and so can a wonderful satin gown or a silk brocade coat. What matters is the vibration. And just the way our world is set up, a higher economic priority is given to things that bespeak a greater refinement. That's just the way it was decided. It could be the other way around. It's just a determination that was made to make money. So there are certain things that are nice to have. A nice car that will get you where you need to go, that has a nice vibration, so when you ride in it, you don't feel terrible. A nice place to live with good energy, the best that's available. Clothing that's refined and will suit your purposes. The ability to travel and get away from your area and to go out into natural areas to renew yourself. And of course, money to study enlightenment. Some people wonder why one charges for the study of enlightenment. They harbor the idea or belief that all teachers should teach for free. Obviously, these people have never been teachers and don't know too much about teaching, particularly in the 20th century. Teaching meditation is a very expensive hobby, I must say. To book halls for security services, accounting services, advertising, insurance, on and on and on. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, just to do a couple hundred nights of meditation a year. And, of course, to make it available to people is very expensive. If you don't really care about anybody knowing, then you can just teach meditation and put up a couple little posters around your block. But if your aim is to open the door to as many people as possible, then you need to step into the world of advertising, which is a very expensive world. In my own budgeting of my corporation, our largest budget issue is advertising. Because that's how we let people know that they can learn to be enlightened and become aware. So it's necessary to have a certain amount of money to study enlightenment. When you go to Japan, and of course you visit the monasteries, the Zen monasteries, one of the first things that is required is that you bring a donation. They even have special envelopes. Reminds me of the Catholic Church. When I was in Japan recently, visiting some Zen masters, other Zen masters, it's necessary, even as a visiting Zen master, to bring the proper offering for the monastery, because they have to pay for those monasteries. The upkeep is fantastic. The monks have to be fed, and so on and so forth. But only in America do people seem to have this funny idea. About enlightenment and money. Most teachers, of course, have a charge, an admission fee, a seminar fee, something. And they don't try and become rich with the money. How absurd. They use it just to pay the bills. And it expresses a level of commitment. In other words, as you work and you pay the bills, not only the bills for your car and your clothes and your insurance and the place you live and your medical bills and some entertainment money and travel money, but you should also be working to pay for your enlightenment. Studying enlightenment is like going to a university. You don't think for a minute about paying a tuition to go to the state university, let alone an expensive school like Harvard or MIT or Stanford or the University of Chicago. To study enlightenment requires a commitment. And part of that commitment is a person's willingness to go out and work to make the money to pay for their own way. And an exceptional person, of course, will pay even more, will give even more, because they not only want to just pay for their own way, but they wish to make enlightenment more available to others. So another good reason for working is so you can make some money to help pay your way in your study of enlightenment. There are lots of good reasons to work. But career success depends not only on having the right intent, which from a spiritual point I've just gone over, but once you've come to these realizations and you see, yes, there are very good reasons to work and have a career. Even if I have enough money, I could always make more and aid others. There's a wonderful man who, when you're traveling in the Orient, just as we have in local motel or hotel, there's a Gideon Bible placed by the Gideons. Free of charge, they're the Sutras of Buddha placed in your local hotel room in the Orient, and they're placed there by a man who decided that it would be very nice for people to be able to read the works of Buddha. So he dedicated his life to creating a very large corporation in Japan. And he works many, many hours, more than he needs to personally, just to have those books printed and placed in hotel rooms for travelers through the Bardo, voyagers through eternity, so they can read the words of an enlightened one.